Flight to Abuja, I think, was a fantastic film, and I'm looking right here on Wikipedia about the movie itself, and I'm just blown away by all the facts and figures, which, by the way, Nollywood movies do not have. So I think in this case, in this particular case, Last Flight to Abuja, I think, opened up doors that were not normally available to the Nollywood entertainment industry.
You mean the film in which Omotola starred? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Omotola Ekide starred in the film. She played Susie. You also have Akim K. Kazim played Adeshawa, and Jim Ike, the famous Jim Ike, played David. And there are many, many, much more known faces in this film as well. But with Last Flight to Abuja, I mean, the statistical information on this movie is just mind-blowing. And I'm very, very proud of the people behind the scenes who took this movie, not just from behind the scenes, put them on screen, and even did better than that. They premiered it in Africa, they premiered it in Europe, you know, to really show everybody what we are capable of doing. And this is all Nigerians putting such a collaborative, fantastic product out on the market that we all are proud of. I was working with a gentleman who was going to distribute this film, which he did help distribute the film, and it was just so wonderful to see how organized this group of individuals were. I was very impressed. And if you go on Wikipedia, it shows on there, let me read you what it says. It says, Last Flight to Abuja was welcomed with mostly positive reviews from critics. The film was praised for its brilliant cinematography and music score, among others. Most critics, however, cited that the computer-generated imagery and visual effects left a lot to be desired. The movie grossed, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this, the movie grossed 8 million naira first week of release and went ahead to 24 million naira, topping the chart in the West African cinema, beating Hollywood blockbusters such as Spider-Man. I went to go see Spider-Man. Think Like a Man. I went to go see Think Like a Man. Even The Avengers. The Avengers is one of the biggest DC comic books in the United States, and that movie made so much money. And Last Flight to Abuja beat that movie in the first week of premiere. Even Madagascar 3, the children's movie, which I also had to see due to my cousin. But that's a different story. I'm just saying. Like, you know, it says it was released in cinema in many cities, including Lagos and London. The movie was rated number 4 in the UK cinemas. And total box office for this film is 57,050,000 naira. Almost 60 million naira on one Nollywood movie. I'm so impressed. I'm just excited that we are able to do this. I want to see this more often. So to answer your question, Cyprian, if Western Infusion created this, by all means, all movies should have some type of Western infusion, okay? I mean, because not all, if you research a lot of other Nollywood films, you will not see this statistical information available to us. You know, now researchers, script writers, cinematographers, even directors know the type of movie that would sell, that would make this type of money, because this information is out there for everybody to enjoy, and that is just wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful also because when you meet the producer, I met him in Paris, Obi Emelonye, such a very nice guy that will make you to laugh and laugh. We had a wonderful time together. And again, for our listeners, I have an exclusive interview I did with him in Paris, which I'm going to bring out this week also, so that you can find out the person behind this movie, how he wrote the movie, how he was inspired. In fact, I had almost 30 minutes or more with him, and then we went into the cinema theater to watch his movie. And again, he talked to the French audience, answering their questions. So I have that audio. Your radio, Nollywood radio has got wonderful archive for you when it comes to Last Flight to Abuja. I mean, the man who produced the film and the writer, because himself, he said he's a writer, producer, he's everything. That's what and again, you see him laughing, you see. So I'm very happy for Obi, because we had a wonderful time in Paris, and such a very nice person. And I think I'm not surprised, because he's very resourceful, very, very industrious. I'm not surprised that these figures to hear these figures you're measuring, because the man behind the scene and in front and back of the camera is such a very wonderful person. And that was not his first movie. He in that interview that you're going to hear, listeners, he talked about The Mirror Boy. That was his first movie. The movie that put him up on the what do I say, on the Nollywood scale, who put him very high, because he had disappointments when he reached Nigeria, thinking that he would be accepted by the industry. Then he went back home, and then he went back to London, because this is where he's based. And again, so what many people don't know is that he's a lawyer. He's a trained lawyer, you see. Have to start. The first question is, from a lawyer to a filmmaker, where do you get this energy?
I think a friend of mine says that who we are, whatever we are, goes into everything we do. Everything we are goes into everything we do. I think my journey as a human being has helped me as a filmmaker, and that journey started academically as a theater artist. I studied theater arts at University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and then I went to London, and I realized that you could not make a living as a theater artist starting out in London. I was pragmatic, so I studied law as an alternative career that I felt would give me the profile that was transferable, and also allow me the time to be able to practice my craft while I made a good living for my family. So law provided all of those things, until it got to the stage where I felt, after juggling the two careers, I felt the time was right to bite the bullets and drop law and concentrate on films. I did that in 2007, and it's taken me a while to get going, but I think it's one of the best decisions I've made as a human being.
That's great. Now, let me come to your first, to one of your movies, which is not your first, because your first was in 1999, from what I wrote here. Right. So, now, the Mirror Boy. Now, the cast of the Mirror Boy. How did you get those two men? You know,
Aki and Popo.
Yes, Aki and Popo. And I watched the trailer, right? But let's start with that. What inspired you to write that script or the movie or shoot the movie? Because you are a director, you have the passion for it.
The Mirror Boy was a blessed project, I would say, a blessed project. It's a script that I wrote at a time that I felt my life was at its lowest ebb, and it's gone on to be my moment of glory through all the things that it's achieved. It's essentially, I was looking at my son, who was 7 at the time, grapple with his dual nationality. At school, he's a British boy. At home, he's a Nigerian, because I enforced the Nigerian regime. But for some people without a father figure, they could not determine who they were. There was an identity crisis amongst a lot of young black people in the UK and everywhere in the diaspora. So I felt I needed to tell a story from a child's perspective of a journey back home to Africa to kind of rediscover who they are, a kind of rites of passage, coming of age story. So this young man got involved in a fight in London, and a single mom decides that she could not manage him anymore, that she had to send him back home to get discipline. And the boy goes missing on his second day in Africa and embarks on this magical journey through the dark belly of the forest. And when he finished from that journey, he was a grown man. He walked into the forest as a boy and came out of the forest as a man. So it's that kind of very spiritual, deep African story, the Mirror Boy, and it connected with the world. And half of what I'm doing now came from that single film.
Yes, that's exactly what you said, because the first time you wanted to join the Nollywood industry, it was a little bit difficult for you. Do you see yourself as a comeback kid with the
I think if you knock and the door refuses to open, you keep knocking, and in some cases smash the door in. I came back from the UK to Nigeria in 2000, the first time, to say I wanted to join and grow my art and grow with an industry that was growing at the time. And I was rebuffed, not by any one individual, by the system, by the fact that I could not understand the streetwise, the kind of naivety that I had didn't suit the business climate. So in the end, I ran away. But it was a retreat as opposed to a surrender. I retreated back to the UK, recharged my batteries, changed my focus, and I told myself that I was going to come back into Nigeria when the circumstances were right. And I believe in the UK, I now started making films made specifically for UK cinema audiences, with a view to growing an audience and with a view to practicing what I feel should be where African film industry should be going. And that came to a head in 2011 with the Mirror Boy, which happened, I call it the confluence of circumstances, because everything came together. It was the right film, it was the right time, it was the right mood, it was the right atmosphere, and the consciousness of the people as an audience was at the right stage, where they've kind of rejected the old films and wanted something different, wanted a different story. So it was that kind of circumstances, and the Mirror Boy became my comeback film, if you want to use that word or that phrase. And what a comeback it was, because it kind of catapulted me from just an ordinary filmmaker to one that has international repute and local kudos.
Now, I bought my ticket to this evening to watch a wonderful movie, The Last Flight to Abuja. We got to fasten up our belts again. Just talk about it and don't give everything away. Okay,
no.
All right. Yeah.
Last Flight to Abuja was conceived as a humble project, as a follow-up to Mirror Boy. You know, the Mirror Boy with all his successes critically and commercially. I was emboldened to be more adventurous with the kind of stories that I told. So I decided to tackle this very technically challenging field of aviation. I've been fascinated as a young man by flying a plane and being a pilot, and this is the closest I've come to flying one, to make a film about one. So it tried to look back at 2005, 2006, an era when Nigerian aviation suffered the most, when planes were literally falling off the skies. So, but we shot the film. I wrote the script in 2007. We shot the film in 2011, November, and we were planning a premiere in London on the 8th of June, 2012. But as I was coming back from Nigeria to where I went for an award, lo and behold, a plane crashed in Nigeria with uncanny similarity with the story of my film, and the simple film that I made became involved, and without knowing it, whether I agreed or not, I had become involved in a campaign for safer skies in Africa and not just in Nigeria. And on the back of that, I got a lot of press on CNN African Voices in September last year, on the BBC, where I talked about this very almost prophetic film. But by His grace, it's worked well. It became one of the highest grossing films to come out of Nollywood, the highest grossing in West Africa the whole of last year, and still is. And it's been shown in a lot of festivals: Cairo, Toronto, Seattle, Monaco, and now Nollywood Week in France.
Now we're going to finish with Nollywood Week in Paris, France, for the first time. Not to take much of your time because people are looking, and then we will go quickly to watch that movie. So what do you think about this festival, this new one, and how are you going to talk to the other stars like you back home or anywhere to at least make an effort to come next year to help these young people that did everything with their own money? It's not money, but it's a way to promote the image of Africa and Nigeria and the Nollywood industries. So what do you think about what they're doing, and how are you going to help in future?
No, this is a great initiative. We feel that there are lots of festivals happening all over the place, but there is a missing link between Francophone and Anglophone, and we've been cut and separated, and it's our time now to reunite ourselves. And this move is a very wonderful step in the right direction to try and unify Africa as one creative, one cinematic voice. And the fact that they've selected some films from Nollywood to launch this doesn't mean that it stops with Nigeria. And I believe in the future there will be an extended African section to this event, because it's a huge opportunity to celebrate ourselves, to bring our products to a new set of audience, to tell the world that we exist, we have stories, and we're telling them increasingly in very technical and very qualitative way. So this is a wonderful initiative, and kudos to Kudus and Serge for coming up with this and raising hell and high water to make it happen, and happen at a quality that is really commendable. And I whatever film I make in the future, if I'm invited, even if I don't have any films, I'm invited to come and support this, I will do that. And I implore all the other filmmakers to see this as a huge opportunity to open themselves up to, on a selfish level, open themselves up to a new audience, but on a more general and a more communal level, raise the profile of African cinema, raise the profile of Nigerian cinema, and break new grounds for the glory of God, I say.
Thank you very much for giving me your time. It's great having you here today in Paris, and I hope we shall meet again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.